Can now add water policy to the litany of bad decisions being made by the Queensland Palaszczuk government. You know, they have made an amazing decision to sink any thought of this so-called new Bradfield scheme, opting instead to develop more regional water grids, whatever that means. And will that actually ever happen? Well, I don't know. I don't think it's likely at all. Now, a strong proponent of what's now known as the Great Queensland Dividing Range scheme, if you like, the new Bradfield, this decision really is very terrible. Look, Sir Leo Hilscher and Sir Frank Moore, two Queensland icons. So Leo's asked me to try and keep it going. I'm going to try and do everything I can to keep the talk about water alive because our regions need it. And without it, they're going to be vulnerable during periods of drought. The Queensland Labor government claim that it's all based on, well, some sort of recommendations of an expert panel, unknown drips under pressure. But at no point have they wanted to build any water infrastructure in Queensland. Joining me now to discuss this, the Shadow Minister for Water and Construction of Dams, the LNP MP for Nanango, Deb Frecklington. Deb, great to see you. And let's face it, whether it's the Bradfield Scheme 1, 2, 5 or whatever, this government in Queensland just doesn't want to do anything. They've picked numbers between 91 and 2010 to say there's not enough water in the Burdekin and Herbert rivers. There was a 20-year drought. Are these people thinking we're stupid?
Yeah, look, that's absolutely right, Gary. And what I would say is this report is a damning indictment on the Palaszczuk government's record on water security. From the get-go, they never intended to build any water infrastructure in the north. In fact, at the previous state election in 2020, they announced this report as a way...
That was to try and undermine your efforts.
Absolutely, and to take it off the front page and get it off the news, because Queenslanders are desperate for some action in North Queensland. They're desperate for the development of the north, and to do that, we need water security. So, like I say, they've used... figures that you and I would just laugh at, but also we know that their intention was to make sure that this project never got up, and that's exactly what this report does.
But they've been doing that since 1938. I mean, as I said, Sir Leo Hilscher, legendary fellow in the Queensland Public Service, and, I couldn't tell you his politics. He was a constituent of mine when I was in Moreton years ago, but the bottom line is that he is passionate at the age of 96 about trying to future-proof Queensland. We're not seeing that passion out of the Queensland Labor government.
No, look, what we're seeing is, and, big shout out to Sir Frank Moore and Sir Leo Hilscher, who really have got behind water security, and they've got a vision. They're trying to do nation-building projects.
Exactly.
But what we have here in Queensland, unfortunately, Gary, is a tired third-term Labor government that has never had a vision for water security. What they do is they go to elections, they promise one thing, and then after the election, absolutely nothing.
No surprise.
No, but in 8 years, their record is tearing down a dam wall. They haven't built anything. We've had a federal government that was sitting there with piles of money on the table for water projects in Queensland, and yet the Palaszczuk government refused to get behind those projects. As late as this federal budget, it's horrendous, the fact that the current water minister, the member for Gladstone, actually wrote and confirmed to the federal water minister that in Queensland, don't give us any money. Essentially, he said, don't give us any money for the big projects like Urana, Emu Swamp Dam, Hell's Gate. They're all off the table, because apparently they don't have business cases. Well, I mean, that's another fair thing.
Well, the minister, he's being badly informed because, let's face it, we had a 20-year drought. Looking at those numbers, awfully convenient to hide the truth. But the simple reality is the Burdekin, on average, has something like 3 times the Sydney Harbour volume when it comes to freshwater outflows. Capturing that, and the Herbert, for that matter, creates less flooding, but also more guaranteed water. Building a big dam makes sense. And Townsville deserves a stable water supply.
Well, look, they certainly do. And also Townsville Enterprise, who's the economic development arm up there, I mean, they have been backing projects, any form of projects, to make sure that there is water security in North Queensland. When the Palaszczuk government came out and, canned the latest North Queensland project, which was the new Bradfield report, or in fact any big scheme up there, they did an announcement around looking into raising the Burdekin by 2 metres. Now, they've done that many times before, but on the day of the announcement, not one red cent going towards it.
Oh, so they've announced the policy, but no funding.
No funding, no money, no EIS, no community consultation. The people of North Queensland know that if you're going to put hydroelectricity on that dam, which was another commitment by the Palaszczuk government 2 elections ago in 2017, they came out at that election saying that they were going to put hydroelectricity into the Burdekin. In this announcement, they didn't even talk about hydroelectricity. And further than that, like I say, not a cent. It's just to take the issue off the front page again. Well, this time it's just not going to work. We've got to get rid of this tired government and have a government that actually understands water security.
Let's face it, Deb Frecklington, we need water. Without water, there's no life. With water, there's possibilities. And I've got to say, we feed 150 million people out of Australia each year, our agricultural sector, food and fibre. We could be doing 6 times that if we had proper water projects in different places. That's what I'm told. Anyway, have a nice Christmas.
Yeah, you too.
We can wish you Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.